Page 204, Anna, and she is the shy one. Things are working out, sort of. There's been good news for James. Lexi's back to being nice, and Peter's part of our class again. But it's hard to stay positive when Mr. Terupt is about to have brain surgery. I get scared when I think about it for too long, and I think about it all the time. That, and my mom. Danielle's words crushed me. I didn't get mad at her, though. In a way, I felt sorry for her. I know she wants to be my friend, but her family doesn't want that to happen. That's got to be hard. This time I talked to Mom about it as soon as I got home that day. Mom, Danielle and her family disapproves of you, and that you and Charlie will never be allowed to get married. Whoa! Slow down, Anna, Mom said. First of all, Charlie and I aren't looking to get married. Second of all, I know their family disapproves of me. My jaw fell open. Sit down, honey. I sat at the kitchen table across from Mom. She had been looking over the mail and drinking a cup of coffee, cream and sugar, when I burst in on her. Mom explained. Charlie and I went to school together. When I ended up pregnant with you, he didn't treat me kindly, just like everyone else. In fact, one day he got me so upset, I kicked his truck. I put that dent in his door. I could see my mom reliving those painful memories as she spoke. He's actually apologized to me for how he behaved back then. But why would Charlie say he's sorry if his family disapproves of you? I asked. Danielle's parents and grandparents are pretty old-fashioned and religious, just like my parents, who couldn't find a way to be accepting of me and my situation all those years ago. They still can't. For a second, I wondered about my mother's mom and dad. I've never met them. Were they really that unforgiving? Were Danielle's? I think Charlie just went along with everyone else when we were teenagers, but now he's ready to think for himself. It's always good to make up your own mind, Mom said. So I have Mr. Terupt to thank. If it weren't for his accident, Danielle might never have come over, just like she said. Thanks, Mr. Terupt. But you didn't need to go and get hurt so bad that I could be friends with Danielle. Don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful, but I'd really like you back now. You're going to get better. Be positive. You taught me that. Maybe Danielle and Charlie will be able to change their family's opinion of us, I said. I'm going to be positive. Mr. Terupt would want that. The next chapter is Danielle, the pushover. I know what it's like to have people gang up on you. Being big, I learned real quick. It stinks. I never thought I'd do that to someone else, but I did. I didn't even realize it. Peter must have felt that no one in the whole wide world would like him. I see it now, but I didn't see it when it was happening, when it mattered most. Not until James and Luke made me open my eyes. Selfishness caused me to be blind. I only thought about how bad I felt. I'm not saying I would have done anything different had I seen it earlier. I'm just glad it changed for all of us. Luke told us that Mr. Terupt's going to have brain surgery. All the girls started crying when he told us that. And the boys didn't make fun of us for it, not like every other time. Luke kept talking. He told us about Mr. Terupt's wrestling and concussions and it not being all Peter's fault. It was an accident, a real honest accident, with lots of us to blame. Luke said that Peter threw the snowball because of him, but he wasn't the only one who got Peter mad that day. Others of us started confessing. I prayed for God to cleanse us all. I hugged everybody at James's party. I was sorry for so much, but really sorry for Peter. Even though we all told him it wasn't his fault, I think he still felt that it was. I felt bad for Anna, too. I hope she wasn't mad at me after what I had told her. I wanted us to still be friends. I also wondered what Charlie's intentions were toward her mother, so I asked him. I found Charlie out in the barn early one morning before school. He was sitting next to one of the cows and pulling her teat to get her started for milking. "Morning, sunshine," he said. "What brings you out here?" "I wanted to know why you went to see Terry Adams," I said. To share a good cup of coffee with a fine woman, he said, and to ask for her forgiveness for the way I treated her when we were in school. Charlie slipped the machine onto the cow's udders and got her milking. Good girl, he said, patting the cow. Then he walked over to the next one, squatted down, and started the process over. Do you think Anna and her mom are bad influences on me? I asked. Nope, but I don't think you should try to change Grandma's or Mom's opinion on that score. Are you going to see Terry again? I'd like to, Charlie said. He stood and moved to the next cow. Charlie had 4 machines, so he could milk 4 cows at the same time. He did the milking every morning and night. Then are you going to try and change their opinions? Nope. I see no reason to start a family war. You shouldn't either, he said. That's easy for you to say, because you can just drive yourself over there whenever you want. Sooner or later, my teacher won't be in the hospital any longer. He'll either be back or in the ground, and I won't have any reason to go over to Anna's house. I want to be friends with her and her mother. I like them. Charlie stopped what he was doing and looked at me. Let's cross that bridge when we come to it, he said, and let's continue to pray for that teacher of yours. Do you think he'll make it through the surgery? I don't know, Charlie said. I wish I could tell you, but I only know animals. He walked over to me and squeezed his arm around me, giving me a little squeeze. It's time for you to catch the bus. Go on. Have a good day at school, sunshine. He made me smile a little. I hoped I didn't smell too much like the barn. The next chapter is Jeffrey, the slacker. If anyone knows silence, it's me. The silence in our classroom wasn't the worst. There was always someone you could turn to and whisper. It contained tons of sadness and guilt, but it wasn't absolute. Even Peter's silence was over. He was lucky. My silence at home pressed on. With nobody for me to turn to and with nobody in sight to rescue me, that silence, that was absolute. The only company in my house was more sadness and guilt. But somewhere along the way this year, Terupt taught me to see things different, to think about things different, to think about more than just me. It was always my silence, my fault. But now I started to think about Mom's silence and Dad's silence, Mom's fault and Dad's fault. They were hurting too. Why did I have to wait for them to talk to me? I didn't. A few days after James's party, I crept into Mom's bedroom where she lay on the bed in her pajamas. I climbed in next to her and put my arm around her. Then I told her, it's not your fault. I love you. She didn't do anything, but I lay there and fell asleep, holding my mom. When I woke up, I felt good. I hoped my words had helped her. I thought of Terupt as I walked out of her bedroom. He had helped me reach out. I missed him. I wished I had a chance to tell him how I felt too. I wanted him back so bad. I found Dad sitting in a chair in the family room, better called the be alone room in our house. He was home, so I must have slept for a while. I wondered if he had seen me with Mom. Immediately, I knew it was going to be much harder for me to say those same words to him. We never talked to each other like that. Not even before Michael died. Hi, Dad. I sat on the sofa near his chair. I saw you in there with your mother, he said. She needs you, Jeffrey. You might be the only one who can help her. Dad, it's not your fault, I blurted out. He didn't say anything. I knew my words surprised him. They hit hard. I got up and went and hugged him. I love you, I said. I let go after a few seconds and headed out of the room. It's not your fault either, Dad said before I was gone. I heard his voice breaking up as he said it. I felt that good feeling again, and I thought of Terupt. I thought about what my dad said, about Mom needing me. I didn't know what else to do. So every day after school, I started going home, and resting next to her in bed. It felt like the right thing to do. I tried. Terupt taught me that too. And now we're in May. The next chapter is Jessica. She is the new girl. Act 11, Scene 1. Welcome to the hospital waiting room, where every face is a concerned face. Who knows what's on the minds of all these worried people? They keep busy in different ways. Some read, a few watch television, one lady knits. Enter us, the kids from room 202. We sat quietly, kind of looking around, anxiously awaiting the outcome of Mr. Terupt's surgery. Was it even okay to talk? I wondered. A lot of other people from school sat waiting, hoping for Mr. Terupt. Miss Williams and her red-haired secretary, Mrs. Barton, waited. Mr. Loomis and Mr. Ruddy sat and waited. Everybody at school liked Mr. Terupt. That was just another testament to him. Technically, today was a school day, but Mrs. Williams helped us make arrangements to be here. I can't make this a school-sponsored field trip, she told us about a week ago. At that point, we knew when Mr. Terupt's surgery had been scheduled, and Mrs. Williams realized our entire class planned to be there. I can't have all of you climb onto a bus and be taken to the hospital, she said. Our parents can drive us there, Anna suggested, and we can help each other with rides. I like that idea, Mrs. Williams said. Then you can leave when you want, or not go at all if you'd rather not. I thought about Jeffrey. Miss Newberry, Miss Kelsey, and Mrs. Warner also came. The school was able to provide substitutes for their classes, but not everyone's. I expect all the teachers would have been there if it weren't a school day. That was when I realized that Mr. Terupt didn't have any family present. Not one person. I thought of his desk back in our classroom. Every teacher has family pictures on his or her desk. Not Mr. Terupt. And there were only 2 flower arrangements in his hospital room. One from Miss Newberry and one from Snow Hill School. But no mom or dad were sitting next to his bed. How had I missed it? Not one family picture, not one family member visiting or waiting next to me. Did he even have any family? I wondered. Had my mother noticed and not said anything? Had any of my classmates had these same thoughts? All of a sudden, there was so much I didn't know about my beloved teacher. I just wish he'd open up more and given me a chance, I heard Miss Newberry say. She was quietly talking to Mrs. Williams. He was beginning to let me get close. I don't know what he's so afraid of, or of what he's hiding, Mrs. Williams added. I just want the chance, Miss Newberry said. I care about him so much, and so do these kids. He better pull through. I heard Miss Newberry's voice crack. Mrs. Williams put her arm around her. They were quiet. I suddenly had a lot of unanswered questions going through my mind, but none of them mattered if Mr. Terupt didn't make it through the surgery. How long will this operation take? Anna asked. She didn't realize she had blurted this out until she met our startled looks. Thanks, Anna, I thought. The perfect candidate to break our silence. 8 hours, Luke said. Less if it goes well, more if there are any complications. Silence again.